the psychology of drivers who stay quiet when meeting people. But to notice everything, their minds work very differently. There is a certain kind of person who can look at something everyone else sees as temporary, inconvenient, or irrational and still feel something deeply personal toward it. To most people, it is just an old machine. It is unfinished, imperfect, expensive to keep, and always asking for more than it gives. But to the person holding on to it, it means something far beyond what it looks like on the surface. They usually do not explain it that way. Instead, they say practical things. They say they are still working on it, waiting for the right time, or that selling it never really made sense. But the truth is rarely that simple, because what they are holding on to is almost never just an object. Some people never sell their first real project, even when logic says they should have let it go years ago. Even when the money no longer makes sense. Even when the wiser and more experienced version of themselves knows better. From the outside, that can look like stubbornness, sentimentality, or immaturity. But it is not really about the car. It never was. A first project is rarely just transportation. It is not only about performance, appearance, or mechanical interest. Even if those things matter too, what it often becomes is proof. Proof that they could take something broken or unfinished and make it better. Proof that they could learn. Proof that they could stay with something difficult instead of walking away. Proof that patience could produce something real. Proof that they were not as powerless as they once felt in other areas of life. That is the part many people fail to understand. They assume attachment comes after something becomes valuable, but for many people, attachment begins when struggle becomes meaningful. The late nights, the scraped knuckles, the wrong parts ordered more than once, the frustration of not knowing what they were doing, the silence of the garage, the tiny victories no one else would notice. All of it slowly binds the object to the person. It stops feeling separate. It becomes a physical record of who they were turning into while nobody else was watching. People do this all the time. We do not only grow attached to what gives us comfort or pleasure, we also become attached to what witnesses our transformation. That is why people keep letters they never read again, stay connected to old homes they no longer belong in, or hold on to versions of themselves they should have outgrown. Sometimes we are not loyal to the object itself. We are loyal to the part of our life that the object preserves. For the person who cannot let go of their first project, that chapter is often more important than they realize. The first project usually enters life during a crucial time. Youth, early adulthood, or some uncertain season when identity still feels unstable and the future is unclear. During times like that, people crave something that feels truly theirs, not inherited, not assigned, not passively consumed. Something built through effort. A first project gives them that. It demands patience, focus, discipline, and care. It does not reward laziness, and it does not respond to entitlement. In a strange way, it can give structure to someone who does not yet have much of their own. Psychologists sometimes describe something called an internal locus of control, which is the belief that your actions can meaningfully influence the outcomes in your life. People with a strong internal locus of control tend to believe that effort matters, that change is possible, and that they are not completely at the mercy of circumstance. One reason a first project can feel so powerful is because it gives that belief a physical form. You turn a wrench, something changes. You solve a problem, the machine responds. You stay patient, and eventually progress appears. For someone whose life otherwise feels chaotic, uncertain, or emotionally distant, that kind of cause and effect can be incredibly grounding. But with time, the project starts to become more than a place where effort leads to progress. It becomes a place where identity is stored. That is when letting go becomes hard. Selling it no longer feels like giving up metal, rubber, and fading paint. It begins to feel like betraying the younger version of yourself who believed this thing mattered and needed it to matter. Many people quietly fear that if they lose the object, they will also lose access to the version of themselves that once felt passionate, hopeful, obsessed, and fully alive. That is why the conversation is rarely about market value. Other people may talk about depreciation, repair costs, practicality, and the chance to move on to something better. But what the owner often hears is something deeper. That phase of your life is over. That person you used to be is no longer relevant. The meaning you built there can now be thrown away. That is where the resistance comes from. Most people do not fear losing objects nearly as much as they fear losing continuity. They want to believe their past self still belongs to their present self. They want to feel that the effort they poured into certain seasons of life still exists somewhere tangible. We are much less rational than we like to believe when memory is involved. A person can outgrow an old dream and still grieve when it disappears. They can know they have changed and still want proof that their former self was real. There is also something revealing about the kind of person who forms this kind of attachment. They are often people who see repair where others see replacement. They do not instinctively trust quick upgrades, easy exits, or polished substitutes. Experience has trained them to look beneath the surface, to respect process, and to believe that value is often hidden beneath inconvenience. That can make them admirable, but it can also make them vulnerable. Because the same quality that makes them loyal and patient can also make them hold on far longer than they should. That points to one of the more uncomfortable truths about human nature. Some people confuse emotional investment with moral obligation. Once they have suffered for something, they feel responsible for continuing to carry it. Once they have given years to it, walking away feels like betrayal. Part of this relates to what psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to keep investing in something simply because so much has already been invested. But in cases like this, it goes deeper than a simple cognitive bias. It becomes existential. The project is not just an investment. It is a mirror, and people do not easily discard mirrors that once helped them understand who they were. Beneath all of this, there is often an emotional history that has very little to do with cars. For some, the project was the first thing they were ever patient with. For others, it was the first thing a father showed them how to care for, or the first thing they figured out alone after growing up without much guidance. For some, it became a private refuge during loneliness, heartbreak, or uncertainty. Machines become emotional, not because they feel, but because they quietly remain beside us while we do. That is why these attachments can feel almost sacred. The garage becomes more than a workspace. It becomes a container for memory, frustration, self-respect, and unfinished conversations. Every part holds a story. Every flaw has context. Every repair marks a moment in time. So when someone says, "Just sell it," they are asking something much heavier than they realize. They are really asking whether you can let go of the evidence of who you used to be. The deeper irony is that many people who cannot let go of their first project believe they are protecting the past, when in reality, they may be negotiating with the present. They may be trying to prove to themselves that they are still capable of obsession, still capable of devotion, still connected to the part of themselves that once believed building something mattered. Adulthood has a way of making people efficient, practical, and emotionally diluted. It teaches them to optimize, move on, and stop attaching meaning to things that cannot be justified on paper. And yet some part of the human spirit resists that. Some part still wants one corner of life to remain irrational, intimate, and earned. So no, this was never really about a first project car. It was about what happens when effort becomes identity, when memory becomes physical, and when a machine quietly absorbs the emotional weight of a life still trying to understand itself. The person who cannot let go is not always trapped by the object. Sometimes they are being held in place by the version of themselves that object still remembers. And if that is true, then the real question is not why some people never sell their first project car. The real question is this: what are you still holding on to? Not because it still serves your life, but because it reminds you of who you were when you still believed you could become someone else.